Hello, hello, everybody. Good to be here as always. I'm back after almost a full week off. If you guys didn't know, I had some wisdom teeth pulled, so I had to take a little bit of time off, but I am feeling great. I'm excited to be back. We've made a few changes here that I think are going to make it a lot better for you guys. So I'm going to walk you guys through that really quickly. So to begin, we've actually made a new request system here. This takes all of your responses and combines them into a form, and then they're going to be randomized. This is also built off of a streaming concept where randomized levels have a weight to them. So if your level doesn't get picked this time and then you resubmit it, it will be more likely that you get picked, which is awesome, I think. I think you guys will really like that. Let's get some music going in here as well. Should be awesome. Getting a few notifications that it's not streaming on horizontal. How are we doing on horizontal, guys? Are we a little bit low frequency? Seems like we should be good. If there's any buffering, I'm getting a notification too that I'm a little bit behind here. So if there's anything wrong, just let me know and we'll get it worked out. First of all, we're just going to play through some of these requests, as always. And looks like we're going to be playing through ANP Kimura XD, Flashbang Ultimate, 4 to 5 stars. Alright, so this one unfortunately is an XL level, and in the form I do state that it has to be under 2 minutes long. This one just didn't make the cutoff, so if you trim that down a little bit or something like that, you can totally resubmit, but for tonight I will have to skip it. Next up, we got Trancing by the one, the only Christic GMD. This is actually a featured level, so I'm going to make a few comments on this, and I'm going to explain how it's going and why it's so good. So first of all, I want to make a few notes here. So the level's really good because of the colors. The colors are what make this really fascinating. There's some good ground designs. They're not the standard ones. Everything here is kind of custom. And then actually the reverse gravity was used here, just to add a little bit of, like, I don't know, randomness to it. And then we actually have a parallax effect going on here with the block designs, which is really interesting. Nice transition, that looks really good. Whoa. Oh. Okay, so it is a teleport. I must have just messed that up. Nice swing. That's very easy to handle, which is nice. And there's actually a background pulse going on. It's actually kind of integrated into it, which is really interesting. And then we actually have a rotating camera here with the swing. This is an interesting concept, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. It's probably pretty divisive because, yeah, it's already kind of difficult for people to handle a swing, but throwing a rotating camera in here can be a bit tricky as well. And then there's that. That's a nice end screen. This level, I know from previous context, was made in Object Dash. So that would explain why that background is, or that block design. Quick moment here for horizontal. We're having some issues with some streams lagging. So I'm going to try to get that hashed out really quick here. Let me refresh. All right, everyone, so unfortunately I am going to have to go ahead on horizontal. Vertical, you guys are fine, no worries there, but we're having some trouble. So I'm going to have to reset the stream. Sorry once again to vertical chat here. I'm just having some trouble with the stream quality on horizontal. All right, what a mess. I'm sorry, guys. Should be back now. In essence, the horizontal stream for vertical players. There was a lot of latency going on, so I had to basically completely reset the horizontal stream. So hopefully that all works out. I'm glad it started in the beginning and not right at the end. We'll get right back to levels now. And once again, we just played Trancing by Christic GMD. And we're going to keep going. Let's get it rolling. All right, first is John Egbert by Rover River. All right. Looks like it's... There we go. Is this a demon level? I want to double check. Okay, yes, it is. I'm going to open up the sheet really quick and give a little bit of feedback via the video. Let's take a look at what we got going on here. So it's a very pixel-based level. It's a pixel style, which is neat. I like what you've done here with the block designs. The block designs are actually really well developed. In this next part here, about 22% is where we're at it for anybody playing along here. You've got some lava going on. It's very industrial themed, which is nice. There's some good coherence there. Personally, for me, as I'm just looking through this, there could be a little bit more movement. That's something that's definitely, you know, maybe a little bit, that falls a little bit short here, but that should be pretty easy to fix. Just add a few move triggers, add some of the blocks, connect those together, and then, you know, you'll be well on your way to, you know, even a star rate or maybe a little bit higher with a little bit of deco polishing. The sun in that last part there was a really good way to, like, bring some designs together, bring some coherence into the theming. Nice, nice. Good transition there. At about 80% here, there's a bit of a shift in style. It goes from a more art pixely theme right to a more modern style. And that's not necessarily bad, but it's really good to have a good bridge that goes between them. So like, oh, you know, this part's art, and then there's a transition that kind of shows it changing from that. It's not inherently a bad thing. However, going ahead and basically just making that smoother could be a little bit of an improvement. Again, not too bad overall, though. Horizontal's still getting bad quality. What's up with that? Let's try that really quick. Is that better? What is going on? What's going on? In all fairness, there's been a bit of trouble with the internet as of lately here, on my account, but I don't think it should be this bad. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I have no idea what's going on. Okay, let's see that. It just flipped to excellent. Hopefully this is working. I'm really sorry, guys. This is not supposed to be happening. I'm having a lot of trouble with my internet right now. Okay, hopefully this works. I just basically stopped and restarted the stream. If this still doesn't work, I'm gonna have to do some deeper fixes. Let's just keep going while we still got this, though. While we still got some daylight. All right, at the moment, we're gonna be playing Marabou by Daxor. See what we got going on. Nice. I mean, overall, I think you've got some good designs here. There's some good contrast. You got a nice yellow against good gray background. This is nice. I really like what you've done here in this part. There's actually a lot better colors working. I was gonna say the yellow stood a bit too strong out on the gray, but it stands a lot better as is. This part, I think that contrast could be restored. You could go for maybe a little orange or something like that against the yellow to make it stand out a bit better, but not too bad. There's some good movement going on with the saws as well. I think that's really good. Movement's super important when you are playing through a level, or reviewing it, creating it, all that stuff in general. Nice song in the background as well. It's a nice beat, and you've got some good stuff in general matching the sync too. It plays well. I mean, I don't have a lot of complaints in that area. The gameplay plays solidly. I don't have, again, basically zero concerns there. I think the decoration there could be a little bit more movement going on, maybe a little bit more complexity as well, but yeah, I don't think it's bad overall, for sure. I think that you've done a lot of really good things, and you could grow on it even to make it a little bit more bold, vibrant movements. All those things can really work in your favor. But you've definitely got a good start, so way to go. Next up, we got Waters 35678 Ricochet Love. This actually has a really high like to download ratio, which is a bit surprising. So we will see if it lives up to the hype. And so far, this background does. So these designs right here are actually really interesting. You've got a nice middle going on along with the outlines. It's a really classic, tried and tested design concept. For me, I think that these saws in particular could use a little bit more glowing up, right? They are basic saws, and then you have some really complex decorations going on. And having saws and, these spikes right here to match that would be a really good next step. And then actually going ahead and fulfilling the design concepts that you did in the first part could be another really good thing. Good use of particles in the background as well. I'm not suffering a lot of lag, even though there's some particle work, which is really good. Nice little wave section. I think that they could stand to have a little bit more sync at the moment, and making sure that you cap off those robot blocks there. Once again, apologies to everyone for some technical difficulties at the beginning. Hopefully this will all work out. If it doesn't, I'm not sure. So that is a bit of a blind jump there. I think that having that either indicated or something like that could be really helpful for the player. And then we're kind of into a daytime theme. Very nice. I'm not sure about the green laser beam right there. I think that it could be, you know, a cityscape in the background, something like that. I think you have the right idea of giving it a little bit of life, but I think doing a little bit more of a cohesive theme could be really helpful to making this level look a bit more polished and finished. And then once again, making sure to cap off those blocks would be really helpful to make the structure feel closed and complete. Okay. Not sure here. Okay. It's a very tight thing. I personally expected those to be solid objects, so maybe going back and either making those like spikes, something like that, could be beneficial to the case. So I think I have to stick all these up top. Yeah. So adding a little bit of variation there, maybe making the player have to go top, bottom, you know, just changing it up a little bit could be really good. Faster. Whoa. Whoa. So here it is a little bit blank, I'd say, overall. Right, there's a little bit of, you know, I can see space between. The background's doing a lot of heavy lifting here to make the space feel filled. And going ahead and adding some arrows, indicators, something like that to fill the space and give the background something to work with could be really helpful, even hitting with these saws here. I think we're almost done. Yeah, GG. Thanks for playing. Nice. Very nice overall. I think it has a lot of charm to it. I think there's some really good ideas that you have going on. I think that for a start, you have a really good decorative concept, right? There's a theming to it. You have a nice night sky, then it goes to the sun, goes to day, and you have some nice purple going on. However, I think that growing in terms of decoration, polishing, and detail overall could be very beneficial because, you know, there's always places to grow in decoration. And some of the stuff doesn't contrast quite right. There's some purple on blue on green, and going ahead and mashing those all together makes it a little bit tricky on the eye to read. And then when you go and you make those match, the level plays nicer and people are able to focus on the gameplay and everything else that you've worked really hard to make work. So overall, not bad once again. Next up, we got Patrick's Parabox GP. I believe I actually got a submission from this, but I didn't end up playing it. I think it was in the queue in one of my first streams. So let's see what we got going on here. Okay, so first blocks, length is long. Oh, so this is like a level-styled version of the game. I think it's originally a platformer, and what's happened here is essentially they've made it into a real level, which is interesting. As somebody who doesn't know a bunch about this game and the concept that it was derived from, it's a little bit tricky for me to read on site, right? So adding a little bit more context and detail for the untrained eye and the player who maybe doesn't know exactly what's going on could be really helpful and make a lot more sense and appeal to a broader audience. And then, you know, maybe even get some new players to play this game with. Okay. Oh, so it fills the gap. And then I fall down. Oh, okay, so it makes you small. This is interesting to me because, you know, I don't play a ton of different games other than Geometry Dash. So getting exposure to these other games is very interesting. And we're through. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think what's really nice about this level is there's a clear theme, obviously. You know, the theming is the core of this level. And then what you can do as a player is you can focus on everything else. And I think when I'm talking about everything else, I think there could be a little bit more going on with the decoration. It's not like terrible. Oh my gosh, terrible by any extent. But I think that adding a little bit more in the background, maybe even going a little bit against the grain of the game could be interesting. You're kind of taking the game's concept and building off of it. Okay, so do I have to go like underneath the whole level? Is that what, I'm not sure if that's what's instructed to do or if that's just what it is. Oh, it is. Okay, so I have to go through some of these things. I'd be intrigued to know, like, I can't pick up exactly what does what. So either having a little bit of like an exposition for the player or, you know, introducing them or having some more indicators could be really cool here. Wave. Nice, nice, nice. Oh, and that's a robot portal. Okay. And I have to do a little double jump. Okay. There we go. Okay. Just basically just do that. And then place a checkpoint. Okay. And there we go. I'm through. So while I was focused on that, I didn't say a ton, but I want to make a few claims on, you know, how this level feels to play. Overall, there's a lot of really interesting concepts involved. 100%. You've got a nice theme going on. You've got some nice colors. And obviously, you've derived it from a game, which is really cool. And that's a very difficult challenge to do. I don't think a lot of people necessarily embark on that. And you've done it, and you've done it very well. I can kind of tell what the game is. And I think that, you know, I see, okay, there's a pink square, there's a bunch of different things, and they kind of modify how you go about the level. I really would like maybe a little bit more depth and detail in the background. I'm not sure if that would be too far derived from the concept of the level, but yeah. Overall, very good. All right, next up, we got one from YD Adrian YT. And it's super... Not sure. 1 minute, 25 seconds how long this is going to be, though. I believe... Just a moment. I'm going to double check. Was there a video on it? Yeah, there was. Okay. I'll just try to play it through first. There's about... It's a 4-star. So yeah, I'll be able to take this one. So I think this is a spin-off on Stereo Madness. Just a little bit different. More difficult also. I mean, it's not too tricky overall. It still plays very much like Stereo Madness, and you've got a nice remix going on in the background. I think what you've done so far is actually not bad overall. Okay, early click. Oh, ooh, that's a bit tricky. Maybe for me, what I would have done in order to not make it so that the player just feels punished right at the end would be to go ahead and, you know, make that first spike on the first or second jump instead of the 6th. And right here, there could be a bit more variation in the gameplay, right? Remix levels are really good, but they have to have something going on that makes them clearly distinguishable from anything else. And right now, it does play very similar to Stereo Madness, and it's doing a lot of carrying of variation as a song. This section feels, I think, identical. I haven't played Stereo Madness in just a hot second, but feels very, very, very similar. Yeah, same coin. And there we are. 100%. So yeah, it does play very similar to Stereo Madness overall, right? It looks like Stereo Madness, same colors, same design scheme, all that stuff, but it does have a song remix, which is a great start. That's exactly how you'd build, right? And I think that if I had to do one thing differently, it would be add more variation into it, because it's a start. And what you need to do at the start is you need to build off of it. You need to do different things and try things out. And that can make Stereo Madness a completely different level. There was a whole challenge for $1,000 over making different Stereo Madness. Granted, the decoration was different and everything, but you can take the same concept and apply it to gameplay. All right, we got some people in horizontal chat. Apparently some issues with the pinned comment. I'm gonna really quick retype that. We'll remove that. And then we will pin the new one. All right, hopefully that should work for you guys. I guess a bit of technical difficulties tonight. Hopefully it'll all be good now, though. Horizontal, we're still doing all right with the stream quality. Looks like it's reading as excellent for me, so good. Next up, we got NHPC was the creator, and it was Basement Door. 2 sends. All right, so this is a double send level, so we gotta really dig deep and see exactly what's going on here. Actually, 8 creator points. Very interesting. All right, let's dive in. Basement Door. Nice background. Yeah, so here the designs do stay relatively simple, but what's complementing them is the background, right? There's a window, there's a hanging basket, stuff like that. And what that does for you is that creates layers of depth, and it creates like a feeling for the player. You can understand more, it reads better, all that stuff. Boom. Ooh, toggle orb. Oh, that makes a coin. The tried and tested, good old toggle orb for a coin. Nice embedding of that as well. All right, a little wave section. So now when I start playing through these levels and I'm like, okay, you know, there's a lot of depth, I start thinking about what makes it, you know, star rate worthy, what would make it feature worthy, all that stuff. And I think for me, this one sits right on the border of a star rate and a feature, because there's some good depth going on. However, the designs do stay somewhat simple, and there's a little bit of contrast to be had. A lot of them are monochromatic, a lot of the parts are. So I think for me, it's close, but the movements, the designs, and the detail overall do bring it to a feature. So nice job overall. Basement Door by NHPC. Next on, we got Taste It Preview. Okay, this is XL, but it's only 1:33 long. So I'm not sure there. Okay, it says 2:31 in the editor. So unfortunately, for that reason, because the form says so, I have to respect that, and I do have to skip it. Next up, we got Sunday Rifle by Genius Kiddo 5, and this one does land at 25 seconds as well, so we'll have to skip that one too. So just a reminder to everybody, make sure that when you're submitting your levels, you do read the form through and you do submit levels that fit, okay? If it's shorter than 30 seconds, it might need to be extended a little bit, or if it's over 2 minutes, I might have to crop it just a little bit. And then after that, next stream, you can 100% resubmit. All right, we got Luna Flora. Oh, I have the wrong 10. Oh, I'm sorry. There we go. All right. Luna Flora, 1:14 long. Let's take a look. We got a little introduction going on here with a flower. Ooh, okay. This is nice. This is very interesting. So it's got a little bit of like, it's a blend between art, glow, design, all these things, and it mashes them together to create a very interesting style. I'm digging this so far. Lands itself at a high feature for me. Maybe a bit of a warning for low gravity could be good. When you start a level out with the wave, people can't tell, is it low gravity, is it high gravity, all that stuff. The song kind of implies it just a bit, but making it a little bit more sight readable could be helpful. Good use of blue pads, adding a little bit of a vibe to it. I like this so far. This is really good. Neat transition as well. I was actually just talking to somebody recently about how much I love it when somebody puts the title in the middle of a level, because it adds like a little bit of a break for them and it reminds them of what the level is. It makes it a bit more unforgettable. A bit of lag going on here. That's all right though. This is probably where most of the objects are centered. I was wondering, how is this almost like 80,000, but over 40,000 objects. So I was curious why, and I think this part is why. So I'm not going to judge it based off the lag, right? Because I'm on stream, so things are going to be a little bit slower. But yeah, overall, very good. There's a lot of energy, a lot of stuff like that. What would I do different? I'm honestly not sure. It was a really good level. I did mention a little bit of that gravity thing, but that's a very nitpicky thing to say. So yeah, overall, you've done a good job. I think it would actually land itself as a feature. So we've had a very lucky stint here. We have two straight levels landing themselves in the feature. Well done. Ooh, so this ID does appear to be invalid. So I will have to skip that one. Next up, we got Med by Galaxy God 577. And this one is a medium level. So from the jump, we have a nice custom background. There's been some work done on that, so well done there. Not a bad song choice. I think for the block designs from the jump, they could blend in a little bit better with the background. There's a decent contrast going on, but experimenting with that a little bit could be very good. Good sync as well. That teleport portal up top, I'm not sure what it leads to. Let me take a look. Okay, so that's a little bit of a trick, it seems like. Very interesting. Nice, nice. So I think overall, there's some good gameplay, nice sync, all that stuff. I think that there could be a little bit better contrast, right? I already mentioned that, but not too bad overall. And I think that it's a good start. I think I played a level from this creator already, and I mentioned a little bit of contrast, and there is a little bit of better contrast. They've done a good job building on that. And I think the next step is thinking about unique designs, complex stuff, all that good stuff. And I think it's a great place to build from. Next up, we got Nikuzu. This is 33 seconds long, so it does pass. Let's take a look. Oh, this might be a... Yeah, okay, it is. A 10-star. So I am going to go ahead and watch the video for this one real quick. It's a verification video. Overall, there's actually some really good designs, decoration, pulses, all that stuff. I can't speak too much on the gameplay because it's way out of my league. I've never beaten a medium demon alone, let alone an extreme demon. So again, can't make a ton of comments there. But I think what's going on here, I do like so far. There's some good complex stuff. I'll pop it open really quick. Good dark part. This is at about 60% at the moment. Yeah, I mean, overall, it looks really nice. I think that there's a lot of really good concepts that you have going on here. I'm a big fan of, you know, just in general, what's been done. So well done overall. I think that it really has a good chance to get rated, especially if you were to extend it. Getting a 33-second level rated is very difficult. I get the fact that this is, you know, a challenge and that's its nature, but I think it's a good idea to go ahead and extend that. Next up, we got First Try by Liorkaza GMD. This is 1 minute and 5 seconds. the song is not going to be allowed, which is unfortunately it's a big thing for getting a rated level. It does have to usually be allowed, but they can happen. I've seen them happen before. Ooh, nice, nice. So there's some really good decorative concepts going on here. You've got a nice pink going on with a yellow, some good mashing up overall. Good particles in the background as well. Some pulses. Really, I mean, in general, what's been done here looks like what you'd see in a rated level. I think to get it there, what I would personally suggest would be, first of all, just changing the song. But that is something that kind of, just is bound to have to happen. So I'm not going to make a huge gripe about that. I like what's going on here in this part. It's a little bit tricky to contrast between the background and know what's going on, but that should be pretty easy to build off of. Okay. Ooh, so the fact that those X's were used as kind of jump indicators the first time was made it a little bit difficult to know, should I be jumping, should I not? Okay. And then we're into okay. So usually gray on a super vibrant background makes the block designs feel a little bit undersaturated. So going ahead and maybe going back and bringing that gray or a darker color to the background and then making those block designs shine a little bit bolder could be a great first step in this part especially. I get the idea of experimenting with colors and all that stuff, and I think it's good to do, but when you have a really vibrant level in general, it's important to consider the grand scheme of things. And then some nice orb decoration as well. I don't think I hit that red orb, and I still managed to beat the level. So maybe going back and revising that really quick could be a good step as well. I think what's going on here is actually really good. There's a lot of decorative ideas that work. In general, the level just plays pretty well. I don't have a lot of complaints there. However, the readability did fall off in the middle part. It was pretty tricky for me to figure out, where does this go, why, and all that kind of stuff. So going back, maybe making some stuff contrast a little bit better and mashing it all together could be a good step. Very close to star rate though, so good job. Let me boot that back up. Next up, we got level name is Sus. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and skip that level. Missing well. Minute 23 seconds as well. This is a better place. Actually, I'm a huge fan of this song. Ooh, so this looks like a pixel level. And I can actually tell what's an orb or not. I'm not sure exactly how, but it just kind of reads like that. Ooh, okay, so this is a bit tricky, I guess. I do really appreciate the fact, as a creator who focuses a lot on like what's readable and all that stuff, I do appreciate the fact that you decided to make the portals a completely different color. It makes it a lot easier for me to read. So maybe making those toggle orbs either like a square or something could make it really easier for me to tell what's going on, because I thought that those were like dash orbs or something. I can read this part pretty well though. It's pretty easy skip there for quite a bit of it. And this part does render just a bit empty. I think adding like decoration or even a little bit of a background could be a really good idea. And then it's fading into a layout. This is a good idea. I didn't even think about this. Fading it into a layout is a really good concept. It was just a dream. So you've got some theming going on here. No. And that's a blue orb. So if you want to really go all in with this effect, what you can do is you can make it no effect, and the player can just move. They won't ever know what orb they hit. I've done that several times in a few levels when I want to make custom orbs, and it's a great idea, especially for the way that this level plays. I appreciate the fact that the hitboxes also do match for this, right? I don't have a lot of trouble reading the custom icon. I know where I am. Oh, okay, I don't know how I got through that one time. Boom, and then we're up. I think that for me, just, looking at this from the start, it is 100% the makings of a good level. Even a rate-worthy level, I'd say. Not even just a good level. I think that to get it there needs to be a little bit of a background in the back. That can be really simple. It doesn't have to be incredibly complicated. And you'll be well on your way. Your block designs are pretty good. And the concept is really good overall. You have a nice scene change there, and it loops itself back together. Going ahead then and building on this is actually a really easy concept. So I really hope that you do, and I would be pleased to check this out once again, once it's, maybe even fully complete. All right, this level is Girl by Starly GMD. Minute 29, so once again, clears the bar. Got a nice background going on here, and some nice glow at the bottom. The glow on the bottom is an age-old trick, but it always works, because it adds some life to the level in an otherwise very dark background. And there is some stuff going on in the background, like this. There's a shader effect, which is very powerful. If you don't know how to use the shader, it is well worth your time. I personally don't know the full capabilities of the shader, and I really regret not really getting into them in 2.2 because it leaves you a lag behind. So if you're just getting into creating, definitely look at the shaders. Barbecue sauce. So maybe adding an indicator there or something like that to let the player know, hey, you do have to click here. Could be good.
Have you ever made love to a vending machine?
Vending machine.
Yeah, spare you some change, girl.
It's nice overall, I'd say. It's very simple, but it has some charm to it through the complexity in the design and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's the sheer strength. You know, I once made love on a
And nice block design matching overall with the background. It makes sense together, right?
right in front
And
of
that is really good. I thought that I was going to have a lot of trouble reading that. Maybe adding a bit of like a pad or something there to catch you as you fall could be good.
Girl, have you ever made love to a beach ball? I don't even know how one would go about doing something like that.
A little bit of music notes in the background as a particle effect. That's good. It adds a little bit of variation to the level as well.
Fuck out. Where was I?
And a good shader in the background that actually warps the ending thing. I think for me overall, it does land itself as a star rate because there's some good effects, some good colors, some good designs. It is good overall. There's not a ton that goes on that's really out of the box, but it does show that there's good creative knowledge behind it. So that will land itself as a star rate. Well done. Oh, still getting used to this new request thing. Snowcapped by Frosty Bow GD. So we got a good snow particle trigger going on back here. I'm not sure why, but it feels very slow to me. I feel like I'm going really slowly. And it could actually go at a 2x speed, I feel like, especially with this song. Like, see, I misjudged that. Good slope there. That's nice. And a nice camera rotate there. Adds a little bit of life to it. I like that. It's a tricky. There it is. First try. Nice. Okay. Let's see if I can get this working. So these chains right here, I'm not sure how I feel about them in context of the difficulty of the level. It could go to have just a little bit more involved there. Okay. There it is. We got a nice move trigger going on. That's actually a really nice complex design concept. Okay, so I think, yeah. Okay, that's a bit of a tricky input. Good overall. And then we got a nice corridor there. So I think overall, as I'm playing this through, there's some really good concepts. You've got a nice theme going on, good particle snow background, all that good stuff. But there could be a little bit more gameplay balancing. It's a little bit tricky to get a feel of what gameplay difficulty is. Some parts feel like they're a 10-star, some parts feel like they're an 8-star. I'm not exactly sure how I feel about that. That's nice. So, and that black orb is a little bit of a blind jump. Oh, and it says hold. That's an error on my part. And there we are. Practice complete. 63 attempts, 58-second long level. I think for me, it is a good level, right? There's some good decorative concepts, some good theme, as I already mentioned, but it's a little bit underpolished. There's some parts that are tricky, as I said, and there's some parts that are very easy, and going ahead and balancing those out would be a great first step. Let's continue. Death Step by Chill Dude US. This one has 52,000 objects. So when I see that, I immediately think to myself, all right, so what takes up 52,000 objects in this level? Let's see. Okay. I'm not sure about the invisible blocks here. It's a little bit tricky for me to read. This is a bit of a difficult input. Okay. So a lot of this is timing based, and it's really good to have some variation in where the difficulty stems from. Okay. So I have to hold up and then go down. Okay, so this is a very tight straight fly. I'm not sure about the playthrough of this level, because it's good to make a difficult level, but it's another thing to make sure it's balanced. And I feel like the balancing here is a little bit rough. So going through and making sure that, you know, the player understands it and it makes sense to them could be a good first step. All right, so I am going to go ahead and just look at the editor for this level because it is very difficult for me. Let's pop it open really quick and make a few comments about it. Some good particles. I like the particle background setup. That's very good. The background is a little bit empty for me. I think that if you added a little bit more complexity, that could be really good. A little bit of a Slaughterhouse reference there. And adding a little bit of movement could be really good. Good old portal effect. And here's some club step monsters. So it actually transitions into a club step, like a make your club step thing. Big collab. Very interesting. So I think for me, it could be a really good idea to make a little bit more of a coherent theme. It kind of goes like there's a little bit of it's a collab and then one part that isn't. So mashing those together makes it a little bit confusing for the player. Not fatal though. I think overall it's not too bad. I think that the decoration could stand to have a little bit of improvement and growth on it, and the gameplay is a little bit tricky to read. But I think that you have some good ideas there, and I think that building off of Club Step's song and making a really difficult level is pretty interesting. We last saw the Silent Club Step, and that's been a few years, so definitely keep going on it. All right, we got Laser Tag by Noor Eldeen 103. So we're using the laser background to make the title have some context, which is nice. I would definitely consider making the top and bottom spikes the same color. That's always a good step. Hello to everybody joining horizontal. Good to see you guys. There we go. Quick jump. I think adding a speed change there would also be really good. It makes sense with the song. So that's a good step. Because it feels a little bit like I'm playing with like, as though I'm like really tired or exhausted, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I think going back and just kind of revising those could be a good step. Good triple spikes. Spam. Spam I will. Boom. Oh, double spikes. So maybe adding a little bit of indication or doing something at the end there could be a really good building block. There's a good idea there. I think using the laser background was a really strong point here. You took the idea of laser tag and you really built it in. There was a wave part also that used a laser. So building on that theme and making a more coherent level could be a great next step. I think you have the foundations down though. Oh, okay. Red zone layout, gray. That one is unfortunately not able to be pulled up, so I will have to skip that one. Same for this one, the dream. I will have to skip on that one as well, unfortunately. Sleek by QZ Lind. See what we got going on there. I think I actually just played this one through today, but it's very cool. I had a few statements to make. I was using it as a test level. It's a little bit tricky for me to read what's up with this part. Oh, there we go. So you get to pick. Oh, so like you have to pick the right one. And it's using the classic error thing. I'm not sure if it was indicated, but it was kind of tricky for me to tell where it changed back from spikes being the good guys. Okay, so it's a little bit unreadable, but not fatal, once again. There we go. I like this part. So this is an example of somebody taking a layout and basically glowing it up, which is a really interesting concept. Good swing part so far. Swing parts are very controversial in general, and I don't think this one's bad overall, which is always good to see. Restores my faith in the swing game mode, you could say. Hold on. There we go. I think so far the highlight for me, interestingly, has been that player chooses thing. It gives you a sense of choice, but it's not really a choice at all. Just implementing a bunch of different things here is what makes this level shine. It has a coherent theme, but there's a bunch of different concepts that go together to make a level, right? Boom. And that glow at the bottom, once again, is doing some really good work for this level. It makes sense, and it adds a lot of depth to it. For anybody curious who's tuning into previous streams, a lot of the exclamation mark commands don't exist anymore because they were used on a chronological form. So I do have to skip those. Let me make a few comments about this level really quick. So this level overall takes a gameplay, a layout styled level, and basically elevates it. There's some good concepts going on. I really do like it. You got a little bit of design, and it looks like a level in construction, which is really cool. I haven't seen that actually very recently. Yeah, great start for sure. Well done. I'm just gonna make a few comments on this. What's the word I'm looking for? And I think I'm looking for effects. It was a well done level overall. So let me go back there. I think I forgot to mention that this was star rate worthy. Where was it? I think I can grab it really quick. Hold on. Yeah, I want to explain why really quick. So there's some good concepts, 100%. They've taken gameplay and they've glowed it up, which is kind of what it comes down to. You take gameplay, you decorate it to your heart's content, and that is the result of the level. All right, we got Society Processing by Dex Rio. Got 1,315 downloads. Let's see what we got going on. I played a level very similar to this one recently. I'm not sure if it's the same thing or not, but yeah. Maybe just built off of it. It is not the same thing. I can verify that. The blast processing wave at 4 times speed actually plays surprisingly well. I didn't think that would happen, but it does. Same for the ship here. Got some good shader effects with a little bit of a zoom in and a radial blur. And obviously Society Song rolling in the background. And the old wave, this is a very famous blast processing wave. I think that for me, there's actually some things that are, you know, improved, right? You have a little bit of moving eyes, stuff like that. But taking a blast processing level and syncing it up to Society's Song is a good start, but it's not all that needs to be done in order to give it a bunch of recognition. There needs to be, you know, maybe changing the decoration, changing a little bit of how it plays through, all that stuff. Those can be the things that separate it from just being, you know, it's a good level, it's a charming, fun level, and then going through and, yeah, going through and modifying it a little bit. Ton 618 Timo. Oh, so okay. Let's see. So basically, just like a nerfed version of Ton 618 is what I'm grabbing from this. There we go. Oh, okay. I could not see that. It's a very blind jump. So going ahead and maybe adding an indicator or something to there to make sure that the player knows, oh, okay, this is going to be a jump. That's very vital to the success of the level. And then we got an old wave. Oh, okay, so I don't know. Oh, okay. So, okay, so it's all just D blocks, so you can just kind of hold through it. Nice. And I do have to actually click here. Okay. And there we go. I'm so good at the game, guys. This is actually me playing it. I'm just doing a bunch of pixel perfects here, for sure. Boom. Boom. Look at this. Look at this, guys. Nothing like it. I am incredible. If you are reading this, please rate this level. Oh. Okay. And I think I can just, yeah, I can just do this timing. Oh my gosh. How did I do that, guys? How? I'm incredible. This is the best I've ever played in my life. My biggest accomplishment is going to be beating this level right here. Look at that. Look at that. Incredible. I made it. Round of applause, everybody. That was awesome. Yeah, I think overall, it takes Ton 618, makes it very easy, and makes it very simple, right? And there you go. I rated it to the best of my abilities. Just as it asked for. Oh, okay. Blue Pulse by Chia X3 is going to be our next level here. 13 seconds long. I'm not sure how that's possible. It says it's short. It is 13 seconds. So I will have to unfortunately skip this one as well, just due to the rules of the form. Oh, this one is also... So I don't think unlisted IDs are working with this form, so you will have to submit levels that are on the servers. Next up, we got It's Your Choice. Let's see what we got rolling here. Oh. Okay. Pick a path. Okay. Exit. Oh. How do I do this? Any word? Wise choice. So a little bit of a troll level there. Very nice. Swing is underrated. It honestly is a decent game mode if done right. 100%. Inking Paths demo. Let's take a look. Okay, so... Oh! Wait, is this what I think it is? So you can only see the level once you kind of run through it. That's really interesting. This is actually a new concept. I haven't seen a lot of people do this before. Could just be that, you know, maybe I haven't played the level through, but yeah, I think something that could be really good to make this level even stand out a little bit more and become more easy for the player to play through could be to go ahead and make it where when you ink, the level like kind of stays persistent. So all the blocks that showed up they stick around. So like, see, for example, there, if it was persistent, I'd be able to say, okay, this is what I need to do, right? Because like for me, it's kind of tricky to read all this stuff. But if they were persistent, I'd be able to judge more adequately what's going on. Oh, okay, so I need to go up, it looks like. Do I? No. Oh. Okay. Do I just have to trust myself? Is it like a trust fall type situation there? Not sure. I'm going with it. Ah. What do I do? Okay, maybe if I do this. Okay. So I'm not sure if it's just me, like just having a huge skill issue here, or if, you know, maybe it's not functioning as expected, but it does look like this is kind of impossible. So I will have to kind of stop here. Or maybe it's behind the thing. Oh, it is. Okay, I'm stupid. Good to know. Good to know. And, yep. Oh, there we go. Okay. And then we're up. Got it. And then it looks like there is a key that I'm going to have to grab here. Oh, I was right. Okay, so those are fake, I suppose. I'm going to go ahead and just give my comments on this level in just a moment because I can understand the core concept of it. There we go. Oh, there. And there it is. Level complete. So I think what's going on here is really cool. You have a great concept working. You have a idea where you essentially have to paint a path around the level to make it show up. I actually haven't seen that done in many levels before. Maybe even not one at all. So good job there. I really like the idea of building something unique. What could be done is, again, making that painting very persistent and adding a background to add a little bit more life. Number generator. Let's take a look here. So it essentially just... Okay, so it looks like it's like painting them on top. I'm not sure what's going on there. Might be a little bit of a bug. And I cannot get down. I don't think. I think I'm kind of locked in here. Oh, okay. So you can't get down. And then an end there. So, yeah, I think overall, this is a good idea. It's a good foundation for something else. You can add a little part of this. You can make like a passcode or something like that, and then that can be built upon. So, good start. Next up, we got Electro Pan. Looks like we're taken from Electro Man Adventures here, and it actually holds up pretty faithfully, I think, so far. The decoration, I think, does resemble very similar to what, you know, was done in Electro Man Adventures, which is not necessarily a bad thing, because the gameplay's been varied. I know I give people a lot of flack for having a very similar decoration scheme, but it's usually when the gameplay is very similar. Completely different gameplay redesign here, which I really appreciate. They've taken those flashing colors to a peak. They've really used them well. So well done there. And we're going up. And up. So I think this part here, it lost just a little bit of that Electro Man Adventures feel to it. And I think that stems from the fact that there's no pulsing. Now this part has it back, right? You could use those kind of like breakable blocks again to add that. There it is. So I think carrying those through and fulfilling that in the rest of the level could be really helpful. But I don't have a lot of complaints about this. It plays very well. Maybe adding a bit of background can make it feel very relevant to today. I know I talk a lot about backgrounds, but they are very important. I like this idea here. Look at that. And then again, the gameplay is totally reimagined, which I really do appreciate. A lot of people just build the same thing and they redesign the decoration a little bit or make a little modification and they call it a day. But this is completely different. It takes a different spin on it. It takes the same song and basically modifies it. So kudos to you for making that happen. And that's it. Electropan. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, overall, very cool. I like a lot of what happened here. This is really nice. You've taken Electroman Adventures and made it relevant. You've made it interesting, made it fun. You've added your twist on it, which is exactly what creating's about in some senses. You see something, you take a song, you take what you've learned from something and you implement it. And this does it very well. So way to go there. Is it rate-worthy in today's standards? Personally, I don't believe so, just because, you know, Electroman Adventures is from a completely different era of the game. But I think that there's some really cool concepts here. So well done. With that, unfortunately, even though there were some technical difficulties at the beginning of stream, it is 9:08 p.m. So we've already ran a little bit late, so I will have to end the stream at this time. If you didn't get your level checked today, the good news is this new system, this new form, essentially favors levels that didn't get checked. If you resubmit, you'll have an extra weight onto your random, and I'll essentially be more likely to play your level. So, with that, I wish you all a great night. Hopefully you have a good day, good evening, wherever you are, and I'll catch you guys later. Thank you guys for tuning in. See ya.